On the roadmap to the 2023 elections, let's talk to the chairman, Guild of Public Affairs Analyst, Ambrose Igboke, who joins me via Zoom from Enugu. Thank you so much for joining us, Mr. Ambrose.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me.
Right, let's talk about your general overview of the preparations ahead of the 2023 elections. Just barely 80 days to the elections. What are your reading as regards parties and also politicians' preparations towards this day?
Well, this time around, there's a serious paradigm shift from what we used to have. More of the candidates are talking about issues. We are not seeing people eating corn or agbado on the streets. We are not seeing people tying toddlers on the back. We are not seeing politicians hawking granules on the road. We are not seeing them climbing a commercial motorcycle called Okada. So I think there's a paradigm shift from the shenanigans of the past to more issue-based politicking right now. Increasingly, we are finding the citizens interrogating candidates about policies, about welfare, about security, about economy, and about other substantive issues that will shape the future of welfare and security and economy of Nigerians post-2023 elections. And that, for me, is a positive vibe. It's a positive direction from the things we used to hear before, the things we used to do before. Remember that in the past, it was in this country that politicians will come up during campaign and say whether you vote for us or not, that we will still enter. Those kind of brazen arrogance is no more on display. And so people are focused more on issue. And that's positive. And that means our democracy is maturing, is developing. On the part of INEC, we can see that INEC is ready, despite the sabotage of a few trying to burn down INEC offices here and there, trying to sabotage the elections. INEC has continued to reassure Nigerians that the two outstanding things that, set aside the 2022 Electoral Act that will be used in the election of 2023, the BVAS machine, and of course, the electronic transmission of results that have come to stay, despite some effort by some people to scuttle that particular process. INEC has assured us that those two will be used. So it is good development, and it will enhance credibility of the process. So far, so good. We are seeing so many things good, but there are a lot of court cases flying about all over the place.
Yeah.
And that's how I think we should speed them up to bring them to a conclusion, especially primary matters of the political parties. And when of them are still hanging in the courts. I think that should be judiciously expended so that we can focus on the elections.
The issue of INEC that you mentioned actually brings us to the talk about the issue of insecurity, the attacks here and there, and also, apart from the fact that they're attacking INEC facilities, some of the internal threats that we seem to be having in terms of banditry, kidnapping, and all sorts, and also the unknown gunmen who are threatening that election might not hold come 2023. How do you think the executive is working hard in ensuring that election actually holds? Against the backdrop that the President Muhammad Buhari said that 2023 March, come May 29th, that the handover date is absolutely sacrosanct.
I will recommend that the security agencies have what we call preventive measures, because of the BVAS and electronic transmission of results in our 2023 election, it's the people who want to scuttle the credibility of the election have moved from ballot snatching, because ballot snatching will not be something that is tenable anymore, because the election result would have been transmitted at the polling booths. So when you slide ballot boxes, it doesn't make any sense anymore. So the strategy for them is to see how to truncate the process even before the election, by burning electoral materials, by even destroying the BVAS machine, and by trying to, destroy as much as permanent voters' cards as possible. So there should security should be beefed up in INEC offices nationwide, especially the state headquarters and the local government headquarters of INEC offices. In that way, we will prevent these things from happening, and then we should look for ways now to enjoy the local services of communities, as well as other paramilitary organizations, to ensure that the safety of INEC officials, especially while they are going to conduct the election, pre-election, so that they will not be harmed. Because post-election from the ward where the election transmission has been done, basically there's nothing to cry about anymore, because when you dispatch ballot boxes, election results have been transmitted already.
Right.
But before the election, all the undesirable elements, we want to make sure that the process is truncated.
It's good that you actually...
security should be beefed up around INEC president and INEC offices.
Right. It's good that you actually, started on the, on the note that the politicians are actually engaging issues. But then it's one thing for the players to engage issues. It's another thing for the followers, those who are supporters, to also engage issues. Because if you look at the activities on social media, all they do is ad hominem, attacking the character, the personality of all of these people. Do you think, just like some people said, that the fact that we have the politicians signing peace accord, what about the supporters? Shouldn't they sign some sort of peace accord? How are they faring?
Well, for now, we have been informed that not all political parties have signed that peace accord, that one of the presidential candidates have not signed, and that is a source of worry. If that is true, then INEC should mandate it that all political actors should sign. So it is a bad example that a particular candidate have not signed. And if that is true, it should be made to sign so that his supporters will also know that our candidate is committed to peace. But if the candidate has not signed, then that means they have not committed to peace. And we have had a pattern over the years from, I think, 2011, where the peace committee made sure that all presidential candidates sign. And that is what even moved somebody like the incumbent Jonathan then to quickly concede defeat. But if you have candidates who are still saying they will not sign, that's a big problem. So the candidates follow the body language of their candidates, of their leader, of the followers. Follow the body language of their candidates. And so when the candidates behave well, their followers will follow suit, because that is usually what happens. For example, what would have happened in 2015 if Jonathan had said he would not concede defeat? That would have been a lot of mayhem. Yeah. So the action of the candidates speak a lot in controlling the actions of the followers.
Chairman, Guild of Public Affairs Analyst Ambrose Igboke, thank you so much for your keenness of insight on this issue. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.